So do you think this is just another game?
A year ago, with seconds remaining, a senior captain left his mark on the rivalry.
Malcolm Perry, touchdown! Ball free, Navy wins it! Touchdown for an exclamation point!
But when the series shifts to Colorado Springs, it's the Falcons who have taken flight. A 35-7 win, Air Force defeats Navy. Home turf has been defended in the last 7 meetings, but in a year that's so unpredictable, will the improbable happen?
This is very much a fair fight. They're going to go toe to toe.
Armed Services Saturday continues next with the first battle for the Commander-in-Chief's trophy. From the United States Air Force Academy, college football on CBS Sports Network, presented by Old Trapper Beef Jerky. The first game in the 2020 Commander-in-Chief's Trophy Series, Air Force versus Navy. North of Colorado Springs Falcon Stadium on the first Saturday in October. A select number of cadets, around 4,300, the only attendees for the 53rd meeting, Air Force versus Navy. With Jenny Dell on the sideline, Aaron Taylor, I'm Carter Blackburn, and it is truly our privilege to be here on the first Saturday in October for Air Force versus Navy.
It feels like a fall football Saturday. The air is crisp, and in my opinion, this is the purest form of college football that we have at this level. It's pageantry, it's rivalry, it's tradition, it's everything that makes our sport the best on the planet.
And as we near kickoff, there are question marks at both quarterback positions. For Navy, here's what we know. Dalen Morris will not start. He did not make the trip. Tyler Goslin will get his first start at quarterback for Navy. He will be the third different starting quarterback for Navy this season. The first time that's happened for Navy since 1992. It is Tiger Goslin's ball game against Air Force.
This is a significant change. Now, luckily for the naval staff, they knew that Goslin was going to start and that Dalen Morris wasn't going to make this trip. It's important that he exercises and executes on this offense. He doesn't have to make the great play, just eliminate the bad one. The thing to keep an eye on, though, Navy had become a passing offense under Dalen Morris. Can they get that run game cranked back up with a new quarterback under center? That's going to be something to watch.
We'll get much more into that Navy quarterback situation. Meanwhile, for Air Force, we still don't know who'll be the starting quarterback for the Air Force Falcons in their first game of the year. So, here's what we do know about the Air Force Falcons as we take a look at our Geico difference makers.
Caden Rimsberg is the returning leading rusher from a season ago, and a good one. Air Force likes to get the football to the perimeter, so look for him to be able to make some plays on that outside edge. And then at fullback, Timothy Jackson. The triple option starts with the dive. If Air Force can establish Jackson early on, that's going to be really helpful as they continue to move their ball down the field.
So for more on the very complicated Air Force roster situation, here's Jenny Dell.
Well, Carter, let me break this down to you in the easiest way possible. So when the Mountain West originally postponed that 2020 football season, Air Force gave the option to their players to take a turnback. So a turnback is when a cadet can basically take a semester away from the academy to deal with a hardship. In turn, they would get an extra season of eligibility for football. So what does that mean for the Falcons today? Well, over 30 players from last year's team that were eligible to return this year are no longer on the roster. Guys, their defense has been hit the hardest. 5 graduated, 5 took turnbacks, which means there is only 1 returning starter on the Falcons team.
Jenny, it is a major challenge for Troy Calhoun. Meanwhile, Ken Niumatalolo, 13th season as Navy head coach. 1 win from 100, 7 of those wins versus Air Force. On the yard in Annapolis, part of the Brigade of Midshipmen. Go Navy, beat Air Force. And from an undisclosed location in Southwest Asia, the 332nd Air Expeditionary Wing, go Air Force.
Played this season, but that's really been the story of this game is that Air Force defense that's completely rebuilt is playing well as a team. Parker Noren played in 7 games last year, had only 10 tackles, but he's been huge here. They don't have a player on defense that's got more than 5 tackles. It's been a total team effort.
And now Navy facing 3rd and 17 against that Air Force D. Goslin, handoff. Carruthers straight up the gut and shoved back after a minimal gain on 3rd and long. And it's Sylvanek who had the sack, who gets the stop. 4th down, and no chance for Navy to go for it on 4th down at this point from your own 36.
Man, you know how much respect I have for Ivan Jasper, but I didn't like the conservative nature of that call. If you're Air Force, you have to watch fake punt here because Navy needs something to spark their team.
Well, Davies had that 63-yard punt at Tulane that set up the safety in the 3rd quarter. They take that as well. And didn't get it. Short punt, pretty good roll. Out of bounds just inside the 25. And in a limited possession game, yes, there's 8:04 to go in the 3rd. Not dark yet, but it's getting there for Navy. Next Saturday, the Midshipmen back at home to take on Temple, 6 o'clock Eastern time on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. And you figure Cameron Kenley will get more chances to defend the pass as we take a look at tonight's player profile, brought to you by Rogue Fitness, one of the truly outstanding young men in our nation. Cameron Kenley, the class president, the senior from Memphis, Tennessee for the Navy Midshipmen.
Tell you what, it's rare that I'm impressed with a young man, but I got to tell you, number 3 really blew us away on the call. Just a young, personable guy, but just the way that he plays the game. We talked about it earlier, that interception at the end of the first half against Tulane really sparked it. Wants to go and be an intelligence officer in the Navy. They could sure use that here on this drive.
Receives his service assignment November 12. Credits his grandfather, Lynn Reed, who was retired Navy, with beginning his journey in the Navy. Let's check in with Jenny Dell.
Yeah, and speaking with Kinley, I asked him about that last game against Tulane and what rallied the comeback, and he said it was the morale on the sideline that changed. He said we were down, everyone was hanging their heads, it was lifeless. He said at halftime, no one pointed fingers. We knew what we needed to do and keep those spirits up. So guys, I expected a rejuvenated sideline over here, but I gotta be honest, and they seem quite disengaged on this sideline. There's very little energy going on with Navy.
Now, Jenny, we agree from exactly what you're seeing on your screen. I mean, it's deflated right now for the Mids. Daniel's going to hand off. That is Caden Rinsberg, who takes it to the 39-yard line to move the chains. And now Air Force with a 12-point lead. And I mean, in a normal football game, you would say, all right, 12 points, 7 minutes to go, plus in the 3rd. But this is not a normal football game. Possession in these teams, these programs are built to keep an eye on that clock, to keep an eye on possession, and start counting down to a win.
So Air Force needs to be careful and not get too conservative. They started this drive with a pass on 1st down. Those are the things you want to see, and Navy's got to be careful and play disciplined here, but they need to get a turnover or something to get some juice back.
Zeke Daniels, you can see they take it all the way down to 3 on the play clock, and then Daniels goes across the 50. Rolling, Zeke Daniels is executing the Falcon offense to near perfection right now.
That time there was nobody on the perimeter for Navy's defense. They all responded inside to the fullback dive as unfortunately, man, that's Evan Falkman, the other safety. They've already lost Kevin Brennan to the targeting penalty. This would be the 2nd best player on this defense that's down on the ground right now.
And Brian Newberry, the defensive coordinator, saying I trust those 2 safeties unlike any 2 defensive players I've ever had. And now Brennan is gone, and he will miss the first half of the Temple game as well because of targeting. And Falkman down with getting tangled up, looks like, with another of his teammates.
Yeah, he won the Blue Collar Award for that Tulane game, just demonstrating consistency and executing his assignment. And that unfortunately looked to be friendly fire there.
His backup is Derek Atwaters. Already seen Mitchell West come into the game after Brennan was ejected, and for Brian Newberry and for Navy. And this is turning into, right now anyway, another very tough trip to Air Force.
There's Kevin Brennan, number 7, ejected earlier for targeting. He's not a dirty player at all. He's a tremendous player. I got to tell you, 7 and 11 really jumped off the tape at me when I was getting ready for this game. 54, making plays. They talked about this defense doing too much to try to compensate.
You know, this is a change in the college football rules that when you get ejected for targeting, you don't have to go to the locker room anymore. You can stay on the sideline. I think it's a very good adjustment from the rules committee. But I mean, Brennan's still out there. He's still a leader on this team. He's still on that sideline, and even though he can't play in the game, out there for the second half.
And that's what leadership does. It's not just production, it's how you lead your team. So even though Kevin Brennan's not out on the field, he can still play a critical role.
Roberts on 1st and 10. He's dropped. Nothing going there.
Nice.
Warren leads the way.
Carter, here's Kevin Brennan earlier talking to Mitchell West, number 6, his replacement. But this is the benefit. So credit to the coaches and the rules committee for making that change. An ejection or disqualification doesn't mean that you have to leave the field of play, and I applaud them for that decision for what we just saw there.
So West is in for Brennan. Derek Atwaters is in for Faulkman. And prior to second down.
Timeout. Air Force. This is their first of the half.
But Carter, I'll say this. I'll say it when we come back.
What a great tease, Aaron Taylor.
This is Scott Kelly, class of 1996, commanding officer on board the USS Essex. Hey, Rafael Peralta.
Thanks, Essex. This is Commander Chuck Billa, class of 2001 of USS Rafael Peralta. Over to you, Fitzgerald.
Thanks, your mate. This is Commander Scott Wilbur on board USS Fitzgerald. On behalf of the Fighting Fits, all of our teammates here at Pier 7 Naval Base San Diego, we only have one thing to say.
Go Navy! Be Air Force!
You talk about communication and execution. Well done. Well done. Now, Aaron, you wanted to say something as well.
The fact that that timeout actually helps Navy regroup, catch their breath. They won first down. They've got to put a couple good stops here back to back to get this ball back because they're quickly running out of time.
Air Force has scored on 4 straight possessions. Jackson pushing his way, loose football, and it looks like Air Force is back on top. Indeed they are.
There's a player down as well.
It was
Carter.
Patterson who gets back on top.
This was the exact sort of opportunity that Navy needed to be able to capitalize on. Jackson, who's been running the football beautifully today, coughs it up. But he got some home cooking, and it bounces right into the arms of the waiting Patterson. And that's a huge, huge break for Air Forces. Unfortunately, another Navy player down on this defense.
And we will wait to confirm.
Oh, man,
It's
that's
Fago.
oh.
Sure is. That's your 3 leaders of your defense have all gone down. Brennan
man.
targeting, Faulkman went down. This is Fago in the middle, and Saipaia, the nose guard, went out on the second play of the game.
Oh, you see the knee to the back of the head, and his head snapped violently forward, and he immediately grabs the front of the head, which is where the impact would be from a hit like that. Oh, man. This dude had 12 tackles last year in this game, that incredible win that they had in Annapolis. The leading tackler last season had 100, and he was really the catalyst for that second half turnaround versus Tulane. Dropped an interception but got a sack right after Kevin Brennan got a pass breakup. But there was a play on the first drive where Tulane was driving where he got on his horse, and the effort that he gave to get the ball carrier out at the 2-yard line was impressive. I noticed it immediately, and if he can't come back into this ball game, that's going to be a big blow for Navy. See Navy there huddled up and talking. You love to see that. That's when you need your leaders to step up. You see number 3 there, Michael Cooper. They have to find a way to get him a ball. He's a FBS receiver that could start at almost any other team in the American Conference. So when they get this ball back, they need players like him. But right now the concern is for the best playmaker and the leading tackler from 2019 being tended to on the sideline.
Nicholas Straw takes over at the Mike linebacker position for Navy.
Next man up. Improvise, adapt, and overcome.
So instead of Faulkman, Brennan, and Fagot, you have Atwaters, West, and Straw. With Pearson at nose guard. Air Force keeps rolling. 3rd and 5.
Stop the dive.
Instead the toss. Rimsberg on the edge, driven back. Marshall gets the big stop on Caden Rimsberg, forcing 4th down.
Mitchell West, the backup for Kevin Brennan, did an excellent job of breaking on that football so that John Marshall, the striker, could come in and finish the deal. Look at 6 there, sets the edge, turns it back, and that's the pursuit. That's a hell of a play by Navy. That's the stop they needed. Now it's up to their offense to get things going. Carter, with 3:51 in the 3rd quarter, they've got 3, maybe 4 possessions on offense the rest of this game.
Carlson gets it off. Backs up a little bit, so there's a break for Navy. They'll get it inside the 20, but not pinned back, and that is the first time since the 1st quarter that Air Force has not scored on an offensive possession. Well, for Tiger Goslin, announces the Navy starting quarterback less than an hour before kickoff. It was a good start, but it has not all been good for Tiger.
Yeah, the turnover that led to 3 Air Force points certainly didn't help, but pushing the ball down the field vertically is something that he did well, but this is an unforced error, just turns it over, and that swarming defense for Air Force gets on it. But I'll say this, the problem with Navy's offense isn't the quarterback, it's the offensive line and lack of running game.
Goslin gonna keep it, but there you go. Nothing doing there for Goslin, and it's Grant Donaldson, the one returning starter on defense for Air Force, who makes the stop. And Aaron, we were counting up possessions. I mean, you figure at this point, Navy 3, maybe 4 possessions left in this football game, even at this point, as Fagot slowly makes his way towards the locker room here at Falcon Stadium.
This is the 8th drive for Navy. 3 of those were 3 and outs. They've got to put something together here.
So Goslin dropping back, pumps and throws, incomplete. Trying to get the big one through the air. Incomplete, intended for C.J. Williams. Armed Forces Football is proudly sponsored by USAA.
So what we've seen on 3rd down from Air Force is an aggressive blitzing defense. Defensive coordinator John Radzinski is doing an excellent job calling this game. His players are responding. This offensive line for Navy, Coach Ken Niemat congratulated and complimented on their ability to pass protect. Needs to probably do so here.
Only 1 3rd down conversion complete, and there's the 2nd 3rd down conversion for Navy. Finally moving the chains, it's Warren, the junior. Erickson makes the stop.
And if you're Navy and Ivan Jasper, I almost wouldn't huddle up here. Maybe hit the gas pedal and try to use tempo to your advantage, but this is a beautiful job by Goslin, stepping, putting the ball where it needs to be, and Chance Warren, the slot back, doing the rest.
And another reminder, Dalen Morris, who led the comeback against Tulane, did not make the trip for Navy, so he's not coming off the bench to lead another comeback. It's Tiger Goslin, pressured all the way back at the 20. Goslin gets rid of it, and it is complete. Nice job by Warren to come back from the football and make the grab. Trawick applies the pressure.
Carter, remember at the beginning of the game where they tried to sneak somebody out here? Watch what happens this time. This is his primary read. Goslin wants to go there, but look what Air Force does. They bracket him. Nobody is open, nowhere to go with the football. Goslin has to bail to avoid the sack.
Then Warren, nice adjustment.
Great adjustment.
2nd and 5. Give it to Carruthers. I mean, Navy has not been able to establish that essential piece, the fullback dive, with Carruthers or Nelson Smith.
Man, they haven't been able to establish any piece. The dive, the keep, the pitch, the only thing that's worked is the vertical pass game. They've got 37 rush yards. That's only 12 more than they had at halftime, and we've got less than 2 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter.
On 3rd and 3, Goslin to throw on 3rd and 3. He's chased. Goslin will take the sack. terrible play for Navy. You're in 3rd and 3. You know you can go for it again on 4th down. Instead, Goslin sacked by Alec Mock, and he was not the only Falcon at the football. It's a loss of 7.
Everybody loses up front. The offensive line, they bring both backers, and it's a jailbreak, but everybody's covered back here. There's nowhere for him to go with the football. Another win on 3rd down for Air Force.
So the Navy D finally stops the Falcons, and the Mids can do nothing with it on offense. In the final minute of the 3rd quarter, Navy punts again. Peterson's got it at the 25, and he's down right there. 36 seconds before the 4th quarter, and Air Force is in command with a 19-7 lead and the football.
Carter, that was a 6-play, 14-yard drive that ties for the 2nd longest drive of the game by Navy. And they punted away to an offense that is grinding them up on the ground. Now remember, this is Air Force's first football game. This has gone completely different than I thought coming in. Coach Kenny Matalolo thought that his team was at a disadvantage from not playing. I felt the opposite. I thought Air Force was at a significant disadvantage from not having.
That's Roberts shaking his way across the 40 to near the 45 as the umpire takes a tough tumble. And Kenley thankfully is back up. And
stay down, big guy.
oh, hopefully our umpire, Jeff Akers, hopefully he's all right. Needs a little help from Atwater's getting back up. So Jeff Akers.
Attaboy, Jeff. This is just a regular zone play. This isn't option. This is inside zone football. And down goes the ump. But I tell you what, he broke his fall pretty good there.
Well done. Toughness right there.
Still got some athleticism in him.
Oh, there's toughness on the Air Force, Navy, and our officiating crew without question. Now you saw Jackson walking off a moment ago, and this looks like the toss, and it is blown up. There's a loose football. Air Force hops back on top of it at the 25-yard line, and nearly a disastrous play for the Falcons. I mean, it went sideways in a hurry. Guidry was the wrinkle for the Falcons, and it nearly blew up big time for Air Force. We head to the 4th, and it is Air Force 19-7. You're watching college football on CBS Sports Network, presented by Old Trapper Beef Jerky. Navy led this game 7-3, and the midshipmen have not scored since. 19-7 Air Force on Navy as we begin the 4th quarter. Let's take a look at tonight's QB comparison brought to you by Sonic. And that was not exactly the quarterback comparison we were expecting. We didn't know whose starting quarterback was going to be on either side until an hour before kickoff in Navy's case and at kickoff in Air Force's case.
And it's certainly not the one we got last year with DJ Hammond and Malcolm Perry. But the nod has obviously gone to Daniels, who's done a nice job of not making mistakes and handing the football off.
2nd and 22, and Roberts breaks it across the 50. That is Brad Roberts, the sophomore who takes over for the injured Timothy Jackson, and he is running like Jackson did with a head of steam behind the Air Force offensive line.
This is not an option play. This is zone football with combinations up to the backside. This is just big boy football. Look at that, just hitting it backside, which is where you're supposed to hit a zone, is run to the bubble, and Air Force's offensive line is taking control up front. This isn't gimmicks. This isn't tricking you. This is doing what you're supposed to do to run the football. As we take a look at John Marshall, who's slow to get up, and he's another playmaker for this Navy defense that's had a rough afternoon staying healthy. Marshall's a guy that made his debut at that striker position after moving from safety after the BYU game. Coaches loved his effort and the way he threw his body around. They want him to add 10 to 15 pounds if he can, but he's been a dude that has shown up and made plays for this defense, who's yet the next guy that's getting escorted off.
Saipaia Fagot, Marshall, Faulkman, all injured in the game for Navy. Brennan ejected for targeting. So it was a question of who would play on defense for Air Force, and now with the bevy of injuries for Navy, it's a question of who plays this fourth quarter on defense for the Mids.
Tulane lost that game, and Navy took control of it because they were able to stop the run and win on third downs. That has not taken place here in the third quarter.
Zeke Daniels, fullback dive, why not? Roberts right up the middle, almost unopposed inside the 20-yard line. If you have that in your offense, just run it again and again, and that's what Mike Deason, the offensive coordinator for Air Force, is dialing up right now.
And this is just power football. Double teams at the play side, and the back's going to hit it straight up inside. Again, this isn't option football. This is down, down, and around, and backers jumping out. You saw Mitchell West there, Kevin Brennan's replacement, not fitting his gap, and it led to a big gain.
Air Force now has 11 rushes of 10+. Navy has only 1. Daniels, Roberts, why not? Stopped this time by Tuateli, the Will linebacker, the sophomore, but Air Force is grinding into the red zone again. Tonight's red zone brought to you by Verizon. 3 trips, only 1 touchdown, those 2 field goals, but again, it was 4 straight scoring drives for Air Force that allowed them, and one of those red zone trips at the end of the first half, where you're dealing with halftime and take the 3 anyway.
One area that Navy's done a good job of is forcing Air Force to kick field goals. Air Force would love to be able to employ some death by paper cut and score a touchdown on the ground here.
Merla is in at fullback. Daniels going to keep it. Daniels inside the 5. He's down at the 2. First and goal, Air Force. It's another rush of 10+. This one goes for 12.
Great job by Daniels. He hasn't kept it much, but he's a good open field runner. Great patience, good vision, good burst, with a little bit of finish there at the end. I bet you were a patient runner back in high school, Carter.
Running away. That says it all. That's the game. First and goal. Daniels, give, touchdown. Falcons with another push into the end zone. It is Merla. Touchdown, Air Force.
That's the drive that Air Force needed in a game like this with limited possessions. That's the difference maker. The 2 best offensive linemen on this team, the 2 returners, absolutely crush that side of the defense. And then 32 using power punches it in for what could be the final blow unless Navy can get something going.
Jackson. Then Rob. I can tell you from experience, those push-ups at Mile High are not easy, especially inverted. Now it's time for a day in the life of a cadet, brought to you by Verizon. Parker Ferguson, that left tackle, part of the terrific Air Force offensive line, and we'll bottom line this one for you. That's a 17-hour day.
Bro, it would take me 17 hours to decode the military time just to know where and when I was supposed to be somewhere. But just a little glimpse into the requirements and responsibilities of Parker Ferguson and the rest of his teammates. He was one of the 2 players there that did an excellent job for that last touchdown. Nolan Laufenberg, number 66, an NFL prospect being the other.
Fair catch, bring it out to the 25-yard line. Let's check in with Brent again in New York.
Guys, top 10 showdown in the SEC tonight. Stetson Bennett with a strong start for Georgia. 21-yard touchdown throw to George Pickens. Early second quarter, the Dogs lead Auburn 17-0.
The Dogs, as Larry Munson would say.
Them dogs. Brent's just happy because Kansas State took care of business against Texas Tech today.
So what do you think about the QB decision for the Bulldogs?
Well, I thought Stetson Bennett came in and did a pretty good job in that second half. JT Daniels, if he could be healthy, could be an option, but at this point, go with the hot hand.
Speaking of option, Navy.
I saw what you did there.
Nelson Smith, nothing much doing. All right, 26-7. It's kind of hard to find a path for a comeback at this point for Navy.
No, but what you saw there is Ivan Jasper once again trying to establish the run. This entire offense is based upon being able to run. That was a nice win on first down. Now can they build off of it?
Goslin, deep shot. It is incomplete. Intended for Cooper.
That's a pass that Dalen Morris would have hit.
And again, Morris did not make this trip for Navy. He did not make the trip 2 years ago either here to Air Force. And again, it's a health condition, not COVID related, but because of elevation and those concerns, Morris did not make the trip.
And that's the problem. If you don't have a quarterback that can throw accurately, you can't get guys like Michael Cooper involved.
On 3rd and 6, Goslin Chase just has to heave it downfield, and it's incomplete. Navy's in 4th down. Parker Noren gets the pressure on Goslin again.
If you're Navy, you almost have to think about going for this here right now. You'd hate to put the game down on one possession and give Air Force the football inside the 30-yard line. But tick, 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 they're running out of time. This is a must-have conversion for Navy.
Mid's going for it on 4th and 6. Inside your own 30.
Throw it up to one of those big receivers and let them try to make a play.
Heavy pressure on 4th down. Goslin over the middle. It's tipped, and it's another 4th down stop for the Falcons. They take over with 11:26, and the feel of the Falcons closing in on a win against Navy. It would be the 9th straight win for Air Force.
Grant Donaldson, the MVP of the Cheez-It Bowl, got his big left hand up on that paw, and it's the second turnover of downs of the game for this Air Force defense, and a huge one at that. Watch 30 right there in the middle. Boom! Puts his left hand up right there on the hash, and pressure again responsible for stifling the middies.
Air Force's last loss 364 days ago to Navy in Annapolis. Roberts and the Falcons are just mashing. That's another first down inside the 20. Let's check in with Jenny Dell.
All right, Carter, you ready for this one? So we got number 11, Evan Falkman. His left side of his neck is bothering him. He doesn't have a helmet, so it looks like he is out for the rest of the game. 54, Diego Fogo. He is still back in the locker room. You saw him walk off, shaken up. He was going through concussion protocol in the injury tent before he went off. Now we also have 99, the nose guard, Saipuia. He has a boot on, and he's out here in street clothes. So left ankle, not looking good there either. But there is some good news. Number 1, John Marshall, he's actually out on the field right now. He had his right shoe off. They retaped that foot, and he's good to go.
Well, Jenny, unfortunately, you have more work to do around the Navy injury tent because
Holy moly.
Tommy Lawley is now being helped toward the Navy sideline.
All right, guys, I'll keep you posted as soon as I find out what's going on.
All right, Jenny.
Lawley's right here. He's the starting Raider, the other outside linebacker. Immediately grabs his abdomen. It seems to be okay now. Although still smarting a little bit in that physical tackle. Looks like he's holding that right arm a little bit too.
Navy's 10-50 in rolling away from leaving Colorado Springs with another loss to the Falcons and leaving bruised and battered. It's going to be Roberts again inside the 10. Roberts inside the 5. First and goal, Air Force. Perkins finally makes the stop on Brad Roberts.
This is demoralizing for a defense. Air Force is wearing Navy out up front. Missed tackles. First of all, great clock management. Air Force snapped this football with 5 seconds left on the play clock, so they're already playing for the win and using great strategy. But when you can run the football as physically as they have here tonight, it's going to be real tough for Navy to find their way back into this game. How about Roberts? Almost 100 yards, probably going to get it here on this carry.
Jackson's out of the game for Air Force. So it's Roberts and Merlo who are carrying the way. And Roberts stood up on 1st and goal.
This is Air Force's first live football game with over 30 players that were eligible on last season's roster to return and were expected to play this season, but because of turnbacks, they're not here, and they've still cranked out 330 rushing yards behind an offensive line that only returns 2 players. You have your 2 starting tailbacks, but a new quarterback. This is basically a completely new team across the board, and offensively, you can't tell because they have been magnificent.
On 2nd and goal, touchdown again, Air Force. Roberts into the end zone. The Falcons with red tails on their jersey today to honor the Tuskegee Airmen have been unstoppable since they fell behind 7-3 in the early going. A year after the Falcons won 11 games in their last 8 of 2019. A unique 2020. A unique opener for the Air Force Falcons. But it is a dominant showing to begin the season. All Air Force Falcons.
The story of this game has been the Falcons' running game. It's been fast, it's been physical, it's been furious for most of this game. This is the first time that they've had any physical live contact. And even though Navy's been doing the best they can, it's been the physicality and the yards after contact running behind an extremely physical offensive line that is very likely going to earn the victory for these Falcons. I am so impressed with what these guys have done. The offensive coordinator, Mike Thiessen, and offensive line coach Steve Labotsky have to feel good about what they've done here tonight because they have worn Navy out.
7 yards per rush.
Bro.
Honecker, that will be kick out of bounds. Bring it out to the 35-yard line. And finally, something goes right for Navy. So that's the flag. It's coming out to the 35.
Good job by Michael Cooper, or Chance Warren there.
Rule, the ball will be placed on the 35-yard line. First down, Navy.
We talked about the keys to the game earlier. The offense, ball security, 1 fumble lost, but the inability to run really hurt Navy today. The defense to get 6, 2 3-and-outs, 0 4th down stops, no takeaways. That didn't get it done. For Air Force, avoid the catastrophe. No turnovers, only 1 sack allowed, but they ran the football extremely effectively. Defensively, survived the downfield throws. Only 2 pass plays of 15-plus yards. They've done an excellent, excellent job on that side of the ball as Navy has a new quarterback coming in under center.
Masai Maynard, the sophomore from New Brunswick, New Jersey. So we've seen Perry Olson, Dalen Morris, Xavier Arline, Tiger Goslin, and now Masai Maynard at quarterback for Navy. And we're 3 games into the season for the Mids.
We opened the game talking about the last time they started 3 different quarterbacks in 3 games was 1992. This is an offense looking for answers.
Well, Nelson Smith, the carry there.
Nelson Smith, the ball.
So for Tiger Goslin, it was a valiant start, and it was a 7-3 lead. I mean, the only touchdown of the game is the 73-yard touchdown. But Navy has bigger issues than just quarterback and trying to find a consistent quarterback.
Yeah, at least throwing the football. Today's offensive performance wasn't solely on Tiger Goslin. The offensive line just couldn't get anything going. We knew in the first couple games that establishing the run that Navy's used to doing, that's their bread and butter. We have an Air Force defender that's down. It's been really hard for this offense to do. So Tyler Goslin comes in, Dalen Morris not here, become a pass-heavy offense. We talked to Ivan Jasper, and they sometimes felt like they got too cute. But we'll be back here, folks, in a minute.
College football on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by The Exchange, welcoming home veterans to their exchange shopping benefits. By Rocket Mortgage, for the personalized playbook on home loans, Rocket can. By Navy Federal Credit Union, our members are the mission. And by Kit Kat, have a break, have a Kit Kat.
Now here's the wrinkle today at Falcon Stadium. Usually parachute right into the stadium on a beautiful day, but only cadets allowed in the stadium, so parachuting pregame into the parking lot. So the around 4,300 cadets here.
That sign was savage.
Sure was. Well, the result has been savage. Maynor on the roll, 1st and 10. Toss back across, that was tipped, but still caught.
Nice.
Good adjustment to the football for Mark Walker to make the grab.
I want to talk about these receivers for a second because this is the best set of receivers that Ken Niumatalolo has ever had. We saw Mark Walker there. He's got good speed, natural ability. But him and Michael Cooper are legit wide receiver threats. Soft hand catchers, ability to separate, run crisp routes. Unfortunately, they've been not a part of this offense tonight and been absent because of the quarterback situation.
Navy running it, but perhaps too little too late. Nelson Smith. By the way, before we went to break, you saw Joey Woodring, the nose guard, come off, and he was off on his own power. So it's Kalawaya Pescaya who takes over at nose guard for the Falcons.
There's a couple backups in there for Air Force, but a lot of these guys need these reps.
Maynor pulls it down.
Could have been a face mask there too.
And there it is. There's the flag. Certainly looked like a face mask.
Yep, it's a nice run by that young man, and he's going to keep this drive going. And sometimes you get fresh blood there. Your play calling becomes different. You get a guy that's excited, looking for to take his advantage. And again, Navy looking for answers. Tiger Goslin has some confidence, got that it factor. His dad's a high school coach, played
Personal
3 different
foul,
high schools.
face mask, defense, number 42. Half the distance from the end of the run and an automatic first down.
It's Will Trawick, the inside backer there, and a rare miscue by the Falcons defensively. Man, I watching that BYU game, Carter, I was shocked. Like, it was a boat race right out of the gate, and Coach Niumat knew it. He knew it on the sidelines that he had made a mistake.
Maynard, it's picked off in the end zone. Taylor's going to bring it back across the 20, across the 30. Taylor with blockers ahead across the 50. Finally brought down by Navy. Corvin Taylor with the end zone INT. The all but seal it. Air Force can start to party now, 33-7 in the 4th.
That's just a ball you can't throw. You force it into double coverage. You understand the young man trying to make a play, but as he sets up, he turns. It was a predetermined throw, and he threw into double coverage. And Corvin Taylor made him pay dearly. Thank God Ryan Mitchell gave great effort to make the tackle from behind to prevent the pick six. All smiles, man. These red tail uniforms getting it done for Air Force.
Warren Bryant is the new Air Force quarterback. Same result inside the 20. Bryant fighting his way to the ground with Michael McMorris. Warren Bryant takes the first snap, and the junior QB from Pomona, California, goes rolling again.
This offensive line doing what it does, but these quarterbacks have done an excellent job of running. Did you see the way that he switched the football to his outside hand in the middle of traffic? That's being above the game and making good decisions as a quarterback.
And we haven't even mentioned the DJ Hammond, who beat Navy here 2 years ago. No longer a cadet in good standing at the Air Force Academy. And that's why Air Force is breaking in 2 new quarterbacks, but behind this offensive line. And Mike Deason's offense is just rolling. He was really hard on himself after the loss in Annapolis last year. And boy, his offense has really responded in this opener of 2020.
They were one play away from winning that game. DJ Hammond 246 pass yards. Led that charge. 4 different receivers had a 20-plus yard reception. It has been a very different story here at home. The Red Tails and their unis grounded and pounded.
Bo Gross is in at fullback behind Warren Bryant. And he'll take it on the left side. And Gross rolling inside the 1. He is down inside the 1. See if it's first down or not, but almost semantics at this point because Air Force is doing whatever it wants against a battered Navy defense. 3rd down.
This is the number 2 offensive line for Air Force that's still getting movement like this. A lot of backups in there for Navy as well. Good experience for these young players.
Gross pushing. He appears to have the first down. He's short of the goal line, but it will be 1st and goal.
When you get down here, man, these are just the tough, grinding out yards. Talking with Coach Calhoun. He's talking about all the different players and the new faces. And he laughed at the end. He said, flexibility is the key to air power. But today, it's been the physicality of their offensive line that's been the key.
1st and goal, and it is Warren Bryant pushing his way in. Touchdown, Falcons, Bryant. First drive as a Falcon QB results in a touchdown, and the Falcons are pouring it on.
It's all about leg drive and pad level when you're down here. Football is a game of leverage. Up and down leverage with your pad level and inside out leverage with your hands. If you can get both like Air Force has done, you can punch the football in like they just did there.
And Troy Calhoun
took a timeout.
Yeah, I couldn't get the personnel straight for the PAT. And again, mostly backups, but
Timeout.
I mean, this is the life of a coach. You're up 39-7 in a rivalry game, and you're so burned up because you can't get the right personnel, the backups in for a PAT. But that's the level of execution and perfection expected for Air Force.
Well, Carter, take a look at this. The most consecutive wins by a home team in a yearly series. These are the active streaks. Air Force has been dominant over Navy and tied with USC with their dominance over Utah, and then Georgia Tech and Virginia with their 6 wins. And this is about to be 8, and they'll be in the pole position for the longest run and dominating a series in the country.
Anthony Rodriguez on for the PAT, and his first placement as a Falcon is good, and it is 40-7. Falcons on the mids. Oh, it's a party at the United States Air Force Academy tonight. Red Tails and Falcons are partying together. Air Force, despite the fact that they had won 8 straight games coming into this one, a home underdog. They have flipped the script, 40-7. Coming up next, inside college football. Brent and wherever everybody else is remotely joining in to wrap up a full day of football, including the wild ending between TCU and Texas. It is coming up next, inside college football. The Air Force Falcons 40-7. Offensive coordinator Mike Thiessen and Troy Calhoun have to be very pleased with what they've seen from the Air Force offense. They averaged only 2 yards per rush last year in this game. 7 yards per rush tonight for the Air Force Falcon offense.
Carter, this is the 3rd time in the last 9 meetings that Air Force has had a 300-yard rushing game versus Navy.
Touchback to the 25-yard line. Armed Forces football is proudly supported by Verizon.
I played against both of these teams when I was in college, and I got to tell you, I have immense respect for both of these players. We're going to see a new quarterback under center, Xavier Arline, coming in. He was the guy that started early on in the season and took the position from Dalen Morris, who then got benched himself. He's a freshman. He's not a guy that is supposed to be playing, but because of Goslin's absence, he got rolled a little bit earlier than maybe expected.
Arline gets a couple here at Tulane, became the 5th true freshman to start for Navy, first since Keenan Reynolds in 2012. Elite lacrosse player, and Air Force really wanted him, Xavier Arline. I mean, he was recruited by both of these schools, and as this Navy quarterback picture, you try to find some clarity in 2020. Arline, again, who's one of the 3 starting quarterbacks already this year for Navy. I mean, they know that he is going to be a very special player for the midshipmen, but as a true freshman, still finding the flow with the mids.
And the coaches told us that he played pretty well against Tulane, save one mistake. He did what they asked him to do, which is operate the offense.
Arline's dropped on the edge. Well, where do you go here for Navy? Because, I mean, with what Ivan Jasper told us this week, hey, we tried to be too pretty last time. We felt like we found a flow. You get Dalen Morris back next week versus Temple, but there's a lot of things to fix right now for the midshipmen.
I've been so impressed with Coach Ken Niumatalolo and his team because of the physicality, particularly on the offensive line. The defense with Brian Newberry, guys flying around. But his decision to not hit early on in camp, getting ready for the season, has proved to be just short of catastrophic. Now, he caught it early. They fixed it. They got a couple scrimmages in. They started banging with 9-on-7, which is inside run drill. But football is a sport of physicality, and if you remove that element, particularly in this type of offense, it's really tough to overcome. This is a team that is better than the way that they played through the first 6 quarters in here tonight, but they are going to have to find their way, dig deep, and get back to doing what they do and start with the basics and fundamentals so that they can finish this season up to their potential.
Arline to pass on first down, chased. Arline out of the pocket. Get out of bounds and stay healthy. Don't need any more injuries here for Navy. As we talk about Ivan Jasper, offensive coordinator for Navy, now in his 21st season in Navy, the most important update we got from Ivan Jasper this week. Kids are doing well. Jalen, Jaron, and Dallas all doing well. And for the Jasper family, and that is a huge, huge lift and a positive note for 2020.
Yeah, that was a great way for us to start the interview there when you asked that question, and that was the first thing that was on my mind, just thinking about everything they've been through. But just a testament about resiliency and family and strength and the benefits that football provide beyond what takes place on the field. I mean, Navy is a true family through and through. And what the Jaspers went through and the way Coach Ken and the staff and these players rallied around them was one of the amazing and heartwarming stories that I've ever seen.
Absolutely. And Jaron Jasper with the heart transplant and doing really well. And I tell you what, we've covered both of these programs. We've gotten to know both of these coaches and coaching staffs very well, and it is, I mean, it is really hard fought. I mean, bitter is almost not too strong a word to say the rivalry, but immense respect between these staffs and programs and from all of us. It's been our pleasure to get to know the service academies, Air Force, Navy, Army, to bring it to you on this Armed Services Saturday. And I tell you what, as we talked to Cameron Kenley about this game in Navy, he said you can't describe the feeling in the locker room when you have a letdown in one of these games. He said, I never want to feel that again. And yet, Navy on a lopsided score at Falcon Stadium. Again, they haven't won here since 2012. This will make it 8 straight wins for the home team in this series. And Air Force takes another big step in the Commander-in-Chief Trophy Series. Air Force last won the trophy in 2016.
Carter, the winner of this game, has won 21 of the last 23 Commander-in-Chief's trophies. You're looking at Troy Calhoun. His team is alive and still controlling its destiny. On October 24th, the Mountain West gets back to play, and I got to tell you, they're going to cause some havoc in that conference and give Army everything they can ask for in this trophy.
This one's in the books. Air Force 40
8-7 over Navy. What a statement from the Falcons. It's now 9 straight wins for Air Force. They defeat the midshipmen in commanding fashion at Falcon Stadium again. That's now in the last 3 trips to Air Force, only 28 points combined for the Navy offense. And the Falcons' domination at home over Navy continues. Tonight's player of the game brought to you by Old Trapper Beef Jerky. Zeke Daniels.
Stepping in, doing his thing. He was masterful tonight, only 4 yards shy of rushing for 100 yards, had a touchdown, averaged 9.6 yards per carry, and was 4 for 9 for 41 yards through the air, converting some. But this young man came in, they didn't know who was going to be quarterback. It went right down to the wire. But man, player of the game indeed. But I'm a little biased, Carter. Should have been that O-line, but whatever.
Oh, the QB always gets the glory. The offensive line has his back.
And he'd be the first to tell you those dudes were masterful. It's just one game. Navy's a team that's looking for its identity. But Air Force, this is the way you want to come out of the gate.
We will bring you both alma maters. They stand together. Air Force sings second.
Sailors brave in battles fair, since fighting days of old, have proved the sailors right to wear the navy blue and gold. Lead Army!
The Corps of Cadets at the United States Air Force Academy get kisses from Zeke Daniels and the Falcons as they roll out of Falcon Stadium with a dominant 40-7 win over Navy. So the Commander-in-Chief's trophies, it has been for Air Force since 2016. And a reminder, just 35 days away, Air Force at Army. That is on CBS, and on December 12th, Army versus Navy on CBS. Jenny Dell is with Air Force head coach Troy Calhoun.
All right, Coach, this was the first game for many of these players. When you look at this game in total, what do you take away from it?
Well, Jenny, it was. I mean, just to have so many brand new guys that really had never even played 2 snaps in a game, and yeah, we can get better. I mean, I was, proud with the way we worked and the way we competed, but we're going to have to make good improvements, certainly, as we move forward.
How'd you get the defense to gel so quickly?
They did. I mean, you look, I think there was only one really returning guy, and that was it. And yet we're going to face completely different styles as we head down the road. So the preparation and the progress that we make here over the next few weeks is going to be crucial. What does this victory mean to you in regards to the Commander-in-Chief Trophy? It's one game, it's never more than a single encounter, and what we got to do, like I said, we're getting ready to head into conference play, and we got a hard road ahead, but I think we got some guys that appreciate a little bit of ruggedness, though, too. Congratulations on a great win, Coach.
Thank you, Jenny. Not only a win for his alma mater, the Air Force Academy, in the first game of the Commander-in-Chief's Trophy Series, the Falcons now have the nation's longest active winning streak, 9 straight wins. The last team to beat him, the Navy midshipmen, but Air Force 40-7 over Navy. For Aaron Taylor, Jenny Dell, our producer Scott Brandwine, our director Andy Friedman, our entire crew, I'm Carter Blackburn. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Now let's send it to New York, inside college football.